But they that touch you touch the apple of his eye. Zechariah 2:8. Vengeance is mine, I will repay, saith the Lord. Romans 12:19. For the Lord is a God of justice. Blessed are all who wait for him. Isaiah 30:18. This isn't just a story about emotional pain. It's a spiritual crime scene, a divine record, a sealed scroll in heaven that's now being opened. Because someone, maybe they, thought they could touch what was holy, take what was anointed, and walk away unscathed. But now the heavens are no longer silent. The courtroom has been called to order, and the judge of all the earth is preparing a response. You weren't just hurt, you were harvested. You weren't simply betrayed, you were bled. And for a long time, you didn't fight back. You stayed quiet, confused, praying, hoping, dimming your light to keep the peace, shrinking your power just to be loved. And the world around you applauded your silence. But heaven never did. The righteous cry out, and the Lord hears them. He delivers them from all their troubles. Psalm 34:17. You have kept count of my tossings. Put my tears in your bottle. Are they not in your book? Psalm 56:8. Every tear you cried in secret, documented. Every insult hidden beneath a compliment, noted. Every fake I love you used to manipulate your kindness, recorded. The angels weren't blind. The Spirit wasn't deaf. And now there's a shifting in the atmosphere. Because when a chosen one finally pulls back what was once given freely, the power changes, the ground shakes, the system that fed off you begins to collapse. Because you weren't just part of their life, you were the power source. And they didn't just lose a person, they lost access to God's investment. Do not be deceived, God is not mocked. For whatever a man sows, that shall he also reap. Galatians 6:7. Touch not mine anointed, and do my prophets no harm. 1 Chronicles 16:22. Let me ask you, chosen one, do you feel it? That silent scream in the spirit, that internal shift where peace replaced panic and the fog began to clear? That wasn't random. That was alignment. Heaven put a pause on their access to you, not because you were too much, but because you were too sacred to be mishandled any longer. They took your glow like it was a gift card with no limit. They smiled while sipping your peace. They applauded while you broke behind closed doors. But the supply chain has been severed, and the judicial order has gone out in the spirit. Cut them off. Seal the gates. Withdraw the light. Let the consequence begin. Because what looked like a heartbreak was actually a heavenly extraction. You were removed, not rejected. Rescued, not ruined. Hidden, not forgotten. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. Exodus 14:14. No weapon that is formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue that rises against you in judgment you shall condemn. Isaiah 54:17. You've cried long enough. Now it's time for court. And heaven's not just investigating. Heaven is issuing verdicts. This isn't revenge, it's righteousness. This isn't petty, it's prophetic. The wages of their deception are coming due, and the law of return is now active. Chosen one, the tables are turning, and in the next 9 parts, you're about to find out why it all had to happen, and why the silence you left behind is screaming louder than anything you ever said. Before the pain, before the betrayal, before the silence, you were already seen. He chose us in Him before the foundation of the world. Ephesians 1:4. Chosen one, this didn't start with them. It didn't start with your heartbreak. It didn't start with the rejection. It didn't even start when you were born. It started before time began, when your name was written on a scroll in heaven, sealed in oil, and hidden from the eyes of the world. You were marked, set apart, branded in the Spirit, and not for comfort, but for assignment. I have found David my servant. With my sacred oil I have anointed him. Psalm 89 verse 20. You did not choose me, but I chose you and appointed you so that you might go and bear fruit. John 15:16. God didn't choose you because you were perfect. He chose you because you were willing. Willing to carry what others drop. Willing to weep while walking. Willing to stand in rooms full of darkness and still shine. You are not ordinary. You are not average. You are anointed. And every attack you faced is proof of what you carry. They didn't hate you for who you are. They hated you for what you activate. The moment you walk into a room, demons get nervous. The moment you speak, atmospheres shift. The moment you love, people start healing without even realizing it. Because your life is oil, and that oil is dangerous to the counterfeit. And the Spirit of the Lord came mightily upon David from that day forward. 1 Samuel 16:13. But they that touch you touch the apple of his eye. Zechariah 2:8. Vengeance is mine, I will repay, saith the Lord. Romans 12:19. For the Lord is a God of justice. Blessed are all who wait for him. Isaiah 30:18. This isn't just a story about emotional pain. It's a spiritual crime scene, a divine record, a sealed scroll in heaven that's now being opened. Because someone, maybe they, thought they could touch what was holy, take what was anointed, and walk away unscathed. But now the heavens are no longer silent. The courtroom has been called to order, and the judge of all the earth is preparing a response. You weren't just hurt, you were harvested. You weren't simply betrayed, you were bled. And for a long time you didn't fight back. You stayed quiet, confused, praying, hoping, dimming your light to keep the peace, shrinking your power just to be loved. And the world around you applauded your silence, but heaven never did. The righteous cry out, and the Lord hears them. He delivers them from all their troubles. Psalm 34:17. You have kept count of my tossings. Put my tears in your bottle. Are they not in your book? Psalm 56:8. Every tear you cried in secret, documented. Every insult hidden beneath a compliment, noted. Every fake "I love you" used to manipulate your kindness, recorded. The angels weren't blind. The Spirit wasn't deaf. And now there's a shifting in the atmosphere. Because when a chosen one finally pulls back what was once given freely, the power changes. The ground shakes. The system that fed off you begins to collapse. Because you weren't just part of their life. You were the power source. And they didn't just lose a person. They lost access to God's investment. Do not be deceived. God is not mocked. For whatever a man sows, that shall he also reap. Galatians 6:7. Touch not mine anointed, and do my prophets no harm. 1 Chronicles 16:22. Let me ask you, chosen one, do you feel it? That silent scream in the Spirit, that internal shift where peace replaced panic and the fog began to clear? That wasn't random. That was alignment. Heaven put a pause on their access to you, not because you were too much, but because you were too sacred to be mishandled any longer. They took your glow like it was a gift card with no limit. They smiled while sipping your peace. They applauded while you broke behind closed doors. But the supply chain has been severed, and the judicial order has gone out in the Spirit. Cut them off, seal the gates, withdraw the light. Let the consequence begin. Because what looked like a heartbreak was actually a heavenly extraction. You were removed, not rejected, rescued, not ruined, hidden, not forgotten. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. Exodus 14:14. No weapon that is formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue that rises against you in judgment, you shall condemn. Isaiah 54:17. You've cried long enough. Now it's time for court. And heaven's not just investigating. Heaven is issuing verdicts. This isn't revenge. It's righteousness. This isn't petty. It's prophetic. The wages of their deception are coming due, and the law of return is now active. Chosen one, the tables are turning. And in the next 9 parts, you're about to find out why it all had to happen, and why the silence you left behind is screaming louder than anything you ever said. Before the pain, before the betrayal, before the silence, you were already seen. He chose us in Him before the foundation of the world. Ephesians 1:4. Chosen one. This didn't start with them. It didn't start with your heartbreak. It didn't start with the rejection. It didn't even start when you were born. It started before time began, when your name was written on a scroll in heaven, sealed in oil, and hidden from the eyes of the world. You were marked, set apart, branded in the Spirit, and not for comfort, but for assignment. I have found David my servant. With my sacred oil I have anointed him. Psalm 89 verse 20. You did not choose me, but I chose you and appointed you so that you might go and bear fruit. John 15:16. God didn't choose you because you were perfect. He chose you because you were willing. Willing to carry what others drop. Willing to weep while walking. Willing to stand in rooms full of darkness and still shine. You are not ordinary. You are not average. You are anointed. And every attack you faced is proof of what you carry. They didn't hate you for who you are. They hated you for what you activate. The moment you walk into a room, demons get nervous. The moment you speak, atmospheres shift. The moment you love, people start healing without even realizing it. Because your life is oil, and that oil is dangerous to the counterfeit. And the Spirit of the Lord came mightily upon David from that day forward. 1 Samuel 16:13. For we have this treasure in jars of clay, to show that the surpassing power belongs to God. 2 Corinthians 4:7. They saw the clay, but missed the treasure. They saw your softness, but missed your sword. They mistook your silence for surrender, not realizing that silence is often heaven's preparation for a louder victory. Let me be clear, you're not rising now because you got lucky. You're rising because God planted you in the shadows and let you grow in secret, just like David, tending sheep, just like Joseph, left in a pit, just like Esther, hidden in a palace until the moment came. You were born for this, born to carry the flame, born to break the cycle, born to destroy the patterns that tried to destroy you. The rejection was training. The isolation was consecration. The silence was the sound of heaven sharpening your voice. Though you have made me see troubles, many and bitter, you will restore my life again. Psalm 71:20. So stop questioning why they couldn't handle you. You were never created to be palatable to the insecure. You were created to be powerful in the unseen realm. And some people don't want to be near you, not because you're hard to love, but because you're hard to control. You are the answer that their dysfunction didn't want. You are the light that their shadows couldn't hide from. You are the mirror that exposed everything they tried to avoid. This is why your presence was misunderstood. This is why you were targeted early, because hell saw your file before you ever read your Bible. And now that you've awakened, now that you've stopped begging for crumbs, now that you've stood up and remembered who you are, they're trembling. Not because you left, but because you finally remembered where you came from. The Spirit of the Sovereign Lord is upon me, because the Lord has anointed me to proclaim good news to the poor. Isaiah 61:1. You are chosen, you are called, You are dangerous to darkness. And the next section will show you why they fought so hard to stop you. Before they betrayed you in the physical, you were already under surveillance in the spirit. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world. Ephesians 6:12. They band together against the life of the righteous and condemn innocent blood. Psalm 94:21. The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. June 10. There was a meeting, not in a room, but in a realm, not with people, but with spirits, jealous, ancient, territorial powers that whispered among themselves. This one is dangerous. This one carries fire. This one's awakening must be delayed at all costs. So they formed a council in the shadows, not to kill you quickly, but to drain you slowly, to surround you with people who look like lovers but move like leeches, to hide daggers behind compliments, to dress sabotage in soft tones. Their plan wasn't war, it was infiltration, emotional espionage, spiritual surveillance, to get close enough to copy you, but never close enough to become you. They conspired together with one mind. They form an alliance against you. Psalm 83 verse 5. Even my close friend, someone I trusted, one who shared my bread, has turned against me. Psalm 41:9. You thought it was a friend. You thought it was love. But it was a carefully chosen agent of distraction, a planted spirit with just enough charm to lower your discernment, Aaron, and just enough darkness to destroy you if you let them stay long enough. It was never personal. It was positional. They didn't attack you for who you are. They attacked you because of what you would become, and the enemy didn't send obvious devils. He sent people who mirrored your pain, but never carried your purity. They looked like healing, but brought chaos. They looked like answers, but were sent to delay your breakthrough. Because if the enemy can't destroy you, he'll distract you with people who look like purpose, but drain like poison. Be sober-minded and watchful. Your adversary, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion. 1 Peter 5:8. A man's enemies will be the members of his own household. Matthew 10:36. Let's tell the truth now, chosen one. There were moments you almost lost yourself. Moments where their voice became louder than God's. Moments where your identity got tangled in their dysfunction. And you started calling confusion connection. But the Lord never lost track of you. The trap was mapped. The betrayal was logged. The pain was permitted, but not permanent. Because what they didn't know is that the same shadows they used to attack you are now testifying against them in heaven's courtroom. Heaven is not confused. God saw every lie, heard every whisper, watched every manipulation play out like a theater of shadows. But he let it unfold because he wasn't just exposing them. He was revealing you. And now that you've awakened, now that you've pulled your heart out of their game, the Council of Shadows is in full panic because the assignment failed, the deception didn't work, and now you're walking in clarity. And clarity is the death of every demonic strategy. For nothing is hidden that will not be made manifest, nor is anything secret that will not be known and come to light. Luke 8-17. Let me prophesy this over you right now. Every demon that touched your purpose will be forced to watch your promotion. Every agent of confusion will be silenced by your clarity. Every scheme against your soul will collapse under the weight of your obedience. Because the tables are turning and the Council of Shadows has been overruled. Their vote is void, their plan is broken, and their seat at your table has been permanently revoked. The silence wasn't punishment. It was proof you were being trusted with deeper fire. I cry out to you, God, but you do not answer. I stand up, but you merely look at me. Job 30:20. How long, Lord? Will you forget me forever? How long will you hide your face from me? Psalm 13:1. Though he slay me, yet will I trust him. Job 13:15. There is a kind of pain no one talks about, the kind that doesn't scream. It waits, it sits, it whispers, God, where are you? While everyone else keeps moving, laughing, thriving. And there you are, chosen one, staring into the void of your own obedience, holding on to promises that haven't come, carrying pain that won't leave, standing in a silence that feels like abandonment. But it's not. It's consecration. Heaven's silence is not heaven's absence. God was closer in that silence than you ever imagined. But he wasn't speaking because he was testing the fire in your bones. He was measuring your loyalty when there was no miracle, measuring your worship when there was no breakthrough, measuring your posture when the applause was gone and the audience was empty. He has made me dwell in darkness like those long dead. Lamentations 3:6. He sits alone in silence, for the Lord has laid it on him. Lamentations 3:28. It is good that one should wait quietly for the salvation of the Lord. Lamentations 3:26. This wasn't silence, it was sacred stillness. He was watching if you would still burn, even when no one saw the flame, because you weren't being ignored. You were being inspected. He was removing the applause, stripping away the crutches, taking away the noise so you would learn to walk by fire, not by feedback. Some of you felt the echo of David. My God, why have you forsaken me? But what you didn't know is that Jesus quoted that same cry on the cross. And in that silence, the greatest victory in history was being accomplished. My God, why have you forsaken me? Matthew 27:46. Chosen one, listen. When heaven is silent, it's not because God is absent. It's because the courtroom is in session. And sometimes the judge sits in quiet deliberation before thunder speaks. You weren't forgotten. You were being fortified. You weren't ignored. You were being insulated. God didn't ghost you. He guarded you. Because if he gave you what you prayed for prematurely, you would have handed it to people who were praying for your destruction. He wasn't saying no. He was saying, not yet. I'm still protecting you from what you don't see. The Lord is good to those who wait for him, to the soul who seeks him. Lamentations 3:25. So you sat in the ache. You walked through dry places. You went to sleep with hope and woke up with grief. But every day you kept showing up, kept praying through the confusion, kept worshiping through the fog, kept whispering, God, I still believe you, when nothing around you confirmed it. That is holy. That is rare. That is what made you dangerous. Because now you don't worship for results. You worship because you carry covenant. And the enemy hated that because he thought if he stripped your blessings, he could silence your belief. But you stood anyway. And now the silence is breaking. Now the sound of heaven is changing. Now the God who was still is about to speak. And when he speaks, the same wilderness that dried you will become the altar that launches you. After you have suffered a little while, the God of all grace will himself restore, confirm, strengthen, and establish you. 1 Peter 5:10. The silence was never the end. It was the setup. And what's coming next will make every quiet night worth it. You don't have to clap back. Heaven already did. God is not unjust. He will not forget your work and the love you have shown him. Hebrews 6:10. Whatever a man sows, that he will also reap. Galatians 6:7. He who digs a pit will fall into it, and he who rolls a stone, it will come back on him. Proverbs 26:27. There is a moment in the spirit when the gavel drops, and all the pain you endured in silence becomes the evidence God uses to respond on your behalf. This is that moment, because chosen one, God's justice is not random. It's not passive. It's mathematical. Every seed sown against you, it's being counted. Every dagger dressed in a smile, weighed. Every manipulation, every lie, every theft of your peace, measured. And now the divine system is engaged, the law of return. You see, the kingdom is built on a law of cycles. What goes out comes back, not by emotion, by order. Cast your bread upon the waters, for after many days you will find it again. Ecclesiastes 11:1. Just like a mirror reflects light back to its source, just like a boomerang returns to the hand that threw it, so too will what they did to you find its way back to them. And before you say, "I don't want them to suffer," let me stop you right there. This isn't about suffering, it's about balance. It's about a kingdom that does not forget the tears of the righteous. You don't serve a blind God. You serve a God who records. And a book of remembrance was written before him for those who feared the Lord and honored his name. Malachi 3:16. You may have walked away quietly, but the heavens didn't. The angels who watched you stay silent, they're now the witnesses. The spirit that comforted you at 3 a.m., it's now your defense. And the same God who allowed the pain is now issuing judgment through fire. You don't have to prove a thing. You already passed the test. They thought they won because you didn't react. They thought silence meant defeat. But what they didn't understand is that God was letting them build their own gallows. Just like Haman in the book of Esther. He plotted, he planned, he positioned himself to kill the chosen. But God flipped the script. So they hanged Haman on the gallows he had prepared for Mordecai. Esther 7:10. The same weapon they used will be used against them, not by your hand, but by the principle of return. With the measure you use, it will be measured back to you. Luke 6:38. The Lord is known by his acts of justice. The wicked are ensnared by the work of their hands. Psalm 9:16. So what's happening now? Let me tell you, the lights are cutting off in their world. The applause is fading. The fake glow-up is glitching because you removed the supply, and the system is correcting itself, not in vengeance, but in vindication. This is why you're starting to feel lighter. This is why things are beginning to flow again, because you're no longer standing in the way of their consequences. You stepped aside, and now heaven is settling the accounts, not to destroy them, but to show them you can't violate oil and walk away clean. You can't consume the light of the chosen without eventually being scorched by the flames you tried to contain. Let them say what they want. Let them twist the story. Let them dress it up in public. You don't need to clear your name. God is doing it through results. And every door opening for you now, every opportunity that seems to appear from nowhere, that's not luck. That's restitution. That's the law of return, activating in real time. I will repay you for the years the locusts have eaten. Joel 2:25. Instead of your shame, you will receive a double portion. Isaiah 61:7. Heaven is balancing the scales, and you're walking into a harvest you didn't even know you qualified for. Every moment you were silent, heaven was gathering evidence. I watched till thrones were set in place, and the Ancient of Days was seated, the court was seated, and the books were open. Daniel 7:9-10. Is not my word like fire, declares the Lord, and like a hammer that breaks a rock in pieces? Jeremiah 23:29. Let all creation rejoice before the Lord, for he comes to judge the earth. Psalm 96:13. There is a courtroom in the Spirit, not bound by geography or time, not built with stone, but glory. And in that courtroom, the judge of all creation sits enthroned in fire, wearing eternity like a robe, speaking judgments that never return void. You, chosen one, have been called into session, not as the accused, but as the vindicated. He will bring to light what is hidden in darkness and will expose the motives of the heart. 1 Corinthians 4:5. The Lord sits enthroned forever. He has established his throne for judgment. Psalm 9:7. The books have been opened, your tears written, your betrayals recorded, your pain notarized in blood, the slander archived, the silence you endured with dignity. It echoes in that courtroom like thunder. There are angels present, not just watching, but testifying. Angelic scribes who followed you through heartbreak. Heavenly witnesses who wrote down every injustice, every night you wept, every time you almost folded but didn't. And now your case is being heard. This is not superstition. This is kingdom protocol. You see, God is not just a comforter. He is a judge, and his judgments are holy, perfect, and fierce in righteousness. Shall not the judge of all the earth do what is right? Genesis 18:25. I will bring justice to the nations. Not a reed will he break. Isaiah 42:1-3. So while you were trying to make sense of the betrayal down here, God was preparing your promotion up there. While you were crying, why? He was preparing to answer, watch. And now in the courtroom of heaven, the scrolls are being unsealed. Then I saw a mighty angel, and he gave a loud shout like the roar of a lion, and he held a scroll in his hand. Revelation 10:1-3. The Lord has sworn by his right hand, I will no longer give your grain as food for your enemies. Isaiah 62:8. This is your moment. Your name is being declared clean, your oil validated, your name cleared in the spirit realm. And those who sat in secret councils to mock your downfall, they've been subpoenaed by the throne. The same mouths that lied, the same eyes that watched you struggle in silence, are now watching heaven open scrolls that vindicate every loss. And what's more, heaven doesn't just clear names, heaven issues recompense. Do not take revenge. Leave room for God's wrath, for it is written, it is mine to avenge. I will repay, says the Lord. Romans 12:19. When justice is done, it brings joy to the righteous. Proverbs 21:15. Let this settle in your spirit. You don't have to prove your worth. You don't have to defend your name. Heaven already ruled in your favor. The enemy's access has been revoked. The accuser's lies have been exposed, and the seal of God has been placed over your name. So walk differently, stand confidently. You've been validated in realms that matter more than likes, posts, or gossip. You didn't just survive. You were defended by fire. The courtroom has ruled. Release the blessing. Return what was stolen. Restore the years, and honor the name of the one I chose. I will restore the fortunes of my people. Never again will they be shamed. Joel 2:26-27. The same audience that saw you cry will watch you rise. Instead of your shame, you will receive a double portion, and everlasting joy will be yours. Isaiah 61:7. He prepares a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Psalm 23:5. The stone the builders rejected has become the cornerstone. Psalm 118:22. This is not just restoration. This is a public declaration of your survival, your sanctification, your victory. Because God doesn't just heal in secret, He honors in the open. And for every tear you cried in silence, for every moment you wanted to disappear, He is now commanding a visible reversal. You're not just being restored, you're being revealed. I will give you honor and praise among all the peoples of the earth when I restore your fortunes before your very eyes. Zephaniah 3:20. You see, heaven doesn't just restore your strength, it restores your reputation. And in this next season, people who once whispered about your fall will have to watch your rise. The very ones who mocked your pain will have front row seats to your miracle. They called you weak. Now God calls you warrior. They said you were delusional. Now God is releasing details of his destiny through your life. They said you'd never recover. Now God is restoring you so deeply, you're glowing with oil they can't recognize. And here's the twist. You're not rising in bitterness. You're rising in powerful peace, unbothered, unreachable, untouchable in spirit. You will arise and have mercy on Zion, for the time to favor her, yes, the set time has come. Psalm 102:13. This is your set time. You're walking into rooms that once rejected you. You're speaking in places where you were silenced. You're glowing in environments that once tried to dim you. And those who watched you suffer will now have to testify that God did it. Not man, not your strength. God. Because let's be real, you shouldn't have survived that pain. You shouldn't have made it through that mental warfare. You shouldn't still be standing, but you are. And now your very existence is a prophetic sign. Those who look to him are radiant. Their faces are never covered with shame. Psalm 34, verse 5. That glow on your face, it's not makeup, it's mercy. That clarity in your eyes, it's not confidence, it's confirmation. That peace in your heart, it's not detachment, it's divine restoration. God is giving you back more than you lost. He's not just restoring years, he's redeeming seasons, multiplying what was stolen. And here's the beauty. He's not doing it in secret because the betrayal was public, the lie was loud, the sabotage was shared. So the honor must match. You're about to eat in front of those who starved you. You're about to smile in rooms where you were broken. You're about to win where they tried to wipe you out. And let me say this prophetically. You're not going back to rub it in. You're going back to walk past it free, because you don't need applause. You carry approval. You don't need validation. You walk with vindication. After Job had prayed for his friends, the Lord restored his fortunes and gave him twice as much as he had before. Job 42, 10 double, honor, peace, restitution. It's already begun. You didn't just make it out. You were sent back with fire. You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives. Genesis 50:20. Comfort those in any trouble with the comfort we ourselves receive from God. 2 Corinthians 1:4. For we are his workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works, which God prepared beforehand. Ephesians 2:10. You didn't survive just to post quotes and move on. You didn't get healed just to feel better. You were delivered so you could lead others into deliverance. This is not about recovery anymore. This is about responsibility. The fire that tried to consume you became the fire God now uses through you. You thought you were broken? He was building your blueprint. You thought you were finished? He was shaping your function. Because every scar you carry now speaks. Every loss now launches others. Every dark season has become a training ground for discernment. You are not just a testimony, you are a weapon. Blessed is the one who perseveres under trial. That person will receive the crown of life. James 1:12. He trains my hands for battle. My arms can bend a bow of bronze. Psalm 18:34. Chosen one, your scars are sacred, your story is strategy, and your survival was not just survival. It was a strategy for the next wave of deliverance. This is your mission now, to break cycles in your bloodline, to speak boldly what others fear to say, to discern quickly what others fall for, to walk into rooms and carry a frequency that burns demons without saying a word. God didn't let it happen to you. He allowed it for them, for the ones you're called to reach, for the ones trapped where you used to be. You see now why you had to be different, why you couldn't fit in, why the road was so lonely, because you weren't being punished, you were being prepared. Many are called, but few are chosen. Matthew 22:14. The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because he has anointed me to proclaim good news to the poor, to bind up the brokenhearted. Isaiah 61:1. You are that binding voice now. You are that torchbearer now. You are the one carrying fire in your bones and wisdom in your wounds. They mocked your sensitivity. Now it's called discernment. They dismissed your intuition. Now it's called prophetic insight. Every time they tried to label you too emotional, heaven was labeling you a deliverer. You are the light of the world. A city on a hill cannot be hidden. Matthew 5:14. So don't shrink, don't doubt, don't delay your assignment waiting for applause. You were chosen for the places others fear. You were raised for the rooms others avoid. You carry a frequency that triggers demons and awakens destinies. This is why they couldn't break you, because you're the breaker. Your calling is not just a career, it's a cosmic disruption to generational dysfunction. So go with authority, with compassion, with fire, with purpose, because your greater mission is now clear. You were sent to set captives free, to declare war on the system that once almost killed you, to show up with scars and say, I lived, and now I lead. I didn't just escape, I was sent back to call you out too. Let the redeemed of the Lord tell their story, those he redeemed from the hand of the foe. Psalm 107 verse 2. Come and hear, all you who fear God. Let me tell you what he has done for me. Psalm 66:16. They triumphed by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. Revelation 12:11. Let me tell you the truth. Not as a preacher, not as a voiceover, not as a prophet on a platform, but as someone who has been where you are. I know what it's like to give everything and feel like it still wasn't enough. I know what it's like to pray until you have no voice left and still face closed doors. I know what it's like to feel used, drained, overlooked, and discarded, all while trying to hold your faith together. But let me also tell you this. I lived, and not just survived. I resurrected, and now I'm talking to you. Yes, you. Because I believe the same fire that raised me, the same peace that rewired me, the same spirit that healed me, is coming for you too. He lifted me out of the slimy pit, out of the mud and mire. He set my feet on a rock. Psalm 42. I know you've cried in rooms no one saw. I know you've smiled while slowly falling apart. I know you've begged God for answers and only heard silence. But what if that silence was his way of protecting your promise? What if the delay was him preparing the weight of your calling? What if the heartbreak wasn't punishment, but permission for heaven to rebuild you on better soil? Let me ask you something only the broken can answer. When did you start calling anxiety your personality? When did you start accepting breadcrumbs as love? When did you start apologizing for your light? That's not humility, that's programming, that's trauma. And I came to tell you, you're not crazy, you're not too much, you're chosen. Even to your old age and gray hairs, I am he who will sustain you. Isaiah 46:4. You feel things deeper because you were made to see what others ignore. You get drained in fake spaces because your spirit can't survive in dishonor. You've been attacked so much because you are not a threat. You are the threat to systems of control, manipulation, and generational curses. This world tried to make you forget who you are, but something in you is waking up again, isn't it? Something in you is rising, quietly, fiercely, unbothered by who doesn't get it. Let that rise. And now I ask you, will you stay hidden behind the hurt? Or will you rise, like I did, into who you were always called to be? Because this moment, this video, this fire in your chest right now, this is your confirmation, not to prove anything, not to fix anyone, but to become everything God always knew you could be. Awake, awake, put on your strength, O Zion. Isaiah 52:1. This is your awakening, your holy interruption, your divine invitation to stop bleeding for those who never learned how to love without consuming. And if this message is hitting you somewhere deep, I don't want you to just sit in silence. Do something, speak up, respond, drop a fire emoji in the comments, type "I'm rising," or better yet, go stand in front of your mirror tonight and say, I forgive me, I release them, I claim everything God said is mine. No more waiting for permission, I'm walking in fire. This is not a performance, it's a resurrection, and you're not watching this by accident. Heaven brought you here to remind you, you are still called, you are still chosen, you are still dangerous to the darkness, and your story is not over. The scroll has been read, the evidence is clear. Now heaven waits for your answer. I call heaven and earth to witness this day against you, that I have set before you life and death, blessings and curses. Now choose life. Deuteronomy 30:19. Elijah went before the people and said, how long will you waver between two opinions? If the Lord is God, follow him. 1 Kings 18:21. The time has come for judgment to begin with the household of God. 1 Peter 4:17. The courtroom is silent now. The witnesses have spoken. The scrolls have been read. And God, in the righteous judge, has declared, it is time. Time for you to stop returning to the grave he already pulled you out of. Time to stop letting memories bind you when he already broke the chains. Time to stop waiting for permission to be what you were anointed to become. You are not confused. You are being called. You are not late. You are being positioned. You are not broken. You are being unleashed. And this is the call. Will you keep dancing with the ghosts of your past, or walk into the glory that's been waiting on the other side of your yes? Will you keep watering dead things with sacred oil, or protect your anointing like it cost heaven everything? Will you return to silence, or roar like a prophet born to disrupt systems of abuse, manipulation, and emotional theft? Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you. Isaiah 61. You weren't sent here to stay safe. You were born to be a contradiction to every demon that thought it owned your bloodline. Your freedom is the loudest sermon some people will ever hear. And heaven is asking you now, will you let me finish what I started? You don't need a title. You don't need approval. You need bold obedience, the kind that says, if I have to walk alone, I walk. If I have to start over, I start. If I lose the crowd, so be it, as long as I keep the crown. Behold, I am coming soon. Hold fast to what you have, so that no one will take your crown. Revelation 3:11. This is your altar. This is your courtroom. This is your crown. So stop asking why they hurt you. Ask what God is launching through you. Stop asking when your breakthrough is coming. Start walking like it already started, because it has. Let this be the day you choose fire over fear. You choose clarity over chaos. You choose the kingdom over comfort. You choose the call, even if no one claps for it. Here I am, send me. Isaiah 6:8. If you feel that burning inside, that trembling fire awakening in your bones, don't just scroll away. Drop a fire emoji in the comments. Type, I choose fire, declare it, own it, move in it. And if this word spoke to you, shook you, resurrected something inside you, subscribe, share this with your circle. Sow into this truth with a super thanks and stand on this. You are not a mistake. You are a movement. This was not just a message. This was a verdict, a visitation, a divine reversal. And from this day forward, you are no longer their battery pack. You are God's burning one, and hell just got the memo.